Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Do you ever wonder what it would be like to be overweight, lose the weight, and keep it off? Still struggling with that. Stay tuned to our next guest. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, and the facilitator of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you would never lose weight. And remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. Our special guest today is my friend, Miss Julie Carter. So Julie is a school nurse and a certified health coach who has a passion for helping others find joy in all situations. Married to her high school sweetheart, Julie is the mom to three children, ages 21, 16, and 11. Julie firmly believes that her roles as mom, wife, and school nurse and health coach are all very similar. In each role, she provides support, encouragement, and tough love to help those entrusted to her reach their full potential. Julie is also a graduate of the ADM program at Edgecombe Community College and RN to BSN program at UNCW. She is also nationally certified school nurse. Above all, she is a child of God who loves to give grace to others just as she has been given. So I'm super excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here with you.
So now I want to ask you, what was your primary reasoning for first becoming a nurse?
Well, I'd love to say there was this burning desire my whole life. I'm not one of those people who knew it all along. I have always had a heart for helping other people. It's just in the core of who I am. But I had a job in sales for years and was very successful at that. And our company was bought out and I was laid off. So in that time, I said, what kind of job could I go into where there's always going to be an opportunity and I will not face layoffs? And I thought healthcare, and naturally fell into nursing and have loved every minute of it since.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, when we first met, I first met you while we worked in the emergency department. What was your reason for deciding to work as an emergency department nurse? Because that's a leap. So where did you start at?
I started emergency room.
Oh, okay. So, so what was your reasoning for starting out there? Because that is tough to start out there.
It is. I have always loved a challenge. I love trying to do what people think is impossible. And anyone who knows me knows that I have a lot of energy, ADHD, but I love that fast pace, being able to jump from thing to thing. But I also loved about the ER that you got somewhat closure. You got to see something. It's not like you just followed someone for months and months, but what the problem was they came in there with, you had some sort of solution before they left the building.
And that's true. That's true, because it's almost like immediate gratification, right? So you get to see, like, they come in and, they're having a massive MI. And so a lot of times you can see, even the changes, or like, for example, SVT, right? You see the changes immediately. You give them that adenosine, it feels like they've been kicked in the chest. And then all of a sudden that rhythm changes and you're like, oh, we're good. Like you hold your breath while they're getting the adenosine. And then all of a sudden it's so much better. Now, your son was involved in a burn accident. Now, can you walk us through how you felt when you were first notified that he was burned?
So I will say, I do feel like during that moment, during the initial moments, I feel like God kind of had filters on my eyes to not really see the severity of what was happening. My husband walked him inside the house and I didn't see the burns. I was like, what is going on? Have y'all been on the four-wheeler? Is there an accident? He's like, he's been burned. Just come on, we got to go. And I'm like, whoa, should we call an ambulance? He's like, just get in the car. So throw the kids in the car. I'm driving. My husband's holding the child who's 16 months old at the time. speeding down the highway. We're one exit away from the ER, calling as we go, saying we're heading in, and someone met us at the door. So I would say, and it sounds crazy, but during that whole time, I had this peace that passes all understanding. We got met at the door by someone who walked us into a stretcher. I believe all the rooms were full at the time. They opened up, maybe it was room 13. I can picture it in my head still to this day. And they took us in there. Viola, of course, you were one of our angels during that time. And, you know, I held my child down for IVs and catheters, oxygen, everything he needed with no tears. I was completely at peace. But I think that the ER nurse in me, you know, you're just very tasked, or you have to do step by step. This is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be done. And during that time, I was at peace. I knew that he was getting the care he needed, and everybody was on the ball. No matter how many things I had heard about NASH, I was seeing the first class nurses and doctors that worked in that facility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that one of the things, and I literally am very emotional because I remember that, right? I remember that time, and I remember you coming in, and I thought, gosh, she is so calm. And I had forgotten that we had worked together. And I didn't realize at that time that you were a nurse. And I was like, are you a nurse? Like, why is it that you're so calm? What is going on? And you were like, yeah, I used to work here. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it really dawned on me how, you know, amazing, because you were absolutely phenomenal through that entire process. And I thought, what an amazing woman you are. And so when you first put him on the helicopter and you could not go, how did that feel?
Whew. And I will say, you know, how I handled in the ER initially was not of me. That was all of God. I know that 100%, because I still to this day, when I have these conversations, get overwhelmed with emotion. I really prayed hard this morning about this. But I will say,
I didn't pray enough.
when they say we're taking your baby on a helicopter to Chapel Hill, and I tell you guys, I knew my child was injured, but again, I had this filter on where I wasn't seeing how bad it was. So in my mind, we were going to run to the hospital. They were going to fix us up, you know, like we do in the ER, and send us on our way. Never did I have it in my mind that we were getting ready to spend the next couple of months in Chapel Hill. So when they said, we're taking your son on the helicopter, I was like, okay, I'm going, right? No, at that time, and they may have changed this now, but then they wouldn't let someone go on the helicopter with the patient. So when you take somebody who has been in control and likes to control things and fix things and help people, and all of a sudden you're like, you got to just trust that we're taking care of your baby up there. And so I was overcome with emotion at that point. My in-laws were out of state for the weekend, like they are every year on Labor Day for a reunion. My father was working with FEMA out of state, where he had been for about a month. My mom was living about an hour away at the time. My sister was, nobody was right here in Rocky Mount. I hesitated to tell people that were out of town what was going on because I didn't want them to worry. I'm not one that likes people to worry for me. I like to worry for them. But I immediately, after we did go ahead and tell people, because I knew that Rocky Mount is small and word was going to travel fast, I put it on Facebook. Between here and Chapel Hill, well, we had to go home and we had left our younger two at home with neighbors, and I had to let them know that we were going to Chapel Hill. My sister came and stayed with them at the time where we're outside. We're watching the helicopter fly over our house, and then a second helicopter, which I found out years later, this is how God intertwines people in our lives. One of my students, his father was in that second helicopter with a burn accident, who also was being taken to Chapel Hill. And my mom wound up praying with him in the waiting room. So the short answer, I felt totally overwhelmed and out of control.
Gotcha. You know, and I think that in those times, we have to just be, you know, kind of, you know, I don't know how sometimes we get through it without God, right? I don't know how people who don't have God get through that. So, what are some of the inspirational things that happened during that time that helped you get through such a difficult time?
Well, definitely friends and God loving friends and His Word and prayer, um, taking time to reflect and journal, going on walks. Once I got to the point where I figured out the hospital had wagons, I had that child in a wagon with all his connections, and we would just wheel around that hospital, hall by hall, floor by floor, getting in our miles every day. I will say, we all of us, so often we want to reach out to a friend when we're discouraged or we're frustrated, or we just want to call and vent to someone. And I can vividly remember one surgery, because he had so many over the course of the next 2 months. But this one day I was there by myself. My husband was working. Everybody was gone. I was there by myself. The surgery took much longer than expected. He was having to receive blood. And I remember thinking, am I a fraud? I've been praising God through all of this, but what if he doesn't make it? Will I still be praising God? The answer is yes.
Yes.
But during that time, because I had no one there, I was forced to turn to him instead of to a friend. So it was a very valuable lesson that we're so quick to want to fuss and complain. And I could have done that. But I have to lean on him. I have to trust in him, and I have to go to him first for guidance.
Yes. I didn't realize this was going to be so emotional.
Yeah. We're good.
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to transition now, okay? Because I want us to stop crying.
Yes.
To something happier. So you go on mission trips. What are some of the places that you have visited, and what's your primary reason for going on these trips?
Okay, so I'm going to tie this back in with nursing, actually, and I have not done a medical mission yet.
Okay.
But I can remember when I got out of nursing school, I was in orientation at Halifax at the ER. And one of the questions they asked the new nurses, what do you want to do? What would you like to do? And I remember sitting in the back row at a table with another nurse, and I was like, I just want to do medical missions. I don't want to work. I just want to go do medical missions. So I've always had that in my heart, and I've always loved people that are different from me. When I was a child, my best friends, some of my best friends were completely different religion, culture, ethnicity, everything. So there's that. And my church is super missions oriented, locally and internationally. And I just always wanted to go. And I never did, because I felt like I didn't need to leave my children. My first job was to be a mom. And then one day, my 21-year-old was, I think, 6th grade at the time. And he was like, Mom, I really want to go. Well, you weren't allowed to go at that age unless you had a parent go with you. And I just said, he asked me in church, and I said, okay, we're going.
Okay.
No questions, didn't know how much, didn't know details. I just said, yes, we're going. And of course, then I fell in love. We've been to several places in Costa Rica. We've been to El Salvador. A blessing to me, a blessing to the people there. And so friendships that I have made, that I still keep in contact with these people, it's just such an awesome experience. The youngest child was supposed to go this past summer to El Salvador, but then COVID happened. He's the only one that hasn't been. But it's just, again, the nurse in me, the wanting to help, the wanting to do, and I feel like we're called to do that. And I would have some people say, why do you have to go somewhere? Why can't you do it here? Well, we do a lot here. We really do. But it does not have to be either or. You can do both.
Right. I think that's value in what you said as it relates to, really, really getting to know the people who are different than you are. Because the reality is that expands who you are as a person, right? It gives you that empathetic side of, and I think that's the value in being an ER nurse as well, because when you see people at that most vulnerable point, and when you ask them questions that, like, how do you get your food? Like, how do you how do you get to work, and they have these barriers that are just so, unbearable almost, right? You get to see that other side, and then you're able to expand who you are and be empathetic, sympathetic to it, so that you understand that, everybody just doesn't, they don't come and they don't come in with that expectation that you want to help them. Now, are there some people who do that? Yes. But for the most part, it's just barriers that they can't get past. So I think there's super value in what you said. And if anybody in the audience has, if you've ever went on a missions trip, drop it in the chat. Where you have went on a missions trip. I've never been on one, so I can't say that I have, but drop it in the chat that you have. Now, you recently lost a whole person. Okay. Now, how were you able to do that?
So I followed a very structured nutrition plan where I'm eating every 2.5 to 3 hours to keep blood sugar levels stable, which is so important. More than that, I've worked, and I've now transitioned into being a health coach and helping others. But we work a lot on mindset, getting out of your own head, which is applicable not just to your eating, but jobs and relationships. You have to get out of your head, face fears head on, go straight into the challenge. Working around mindset with eating, incorporating healthy habits, working on hydration and sleep and mental health and spiritual health. And so it all goes together. We can't just fix one little piece of our lives. It all goes together. And, even like you were just saying in the ER, how we know that people have different struggles they're coming from, how to get to work, how to get their food. I see that in my job as a school nurse also. There's so many traumas. There's so many adverse childhood events that these kids are going through. And so this is like a mission field too, but it's interesting how I've been able to take my ER experience, my school nurse experience, and my own personal traumas that I've endured through the years. And it goes way deeper than just my child's burn accident. But when you really take time to reflect, during COVID, we've all had to slow down. And some people looked at that as a negative. For me, I found it as an opportunity to really, okay, Julie, this is your time. You have to make yourself a priority. You have to take time to reflect, and you really have to face head on the things that you haven't wanted to face. And so as a health coach, I help people to do that. And it's enabled me to lose almost 80 pounds this year and keep it off.
Yeah. Yeah. You're looking all fabulous, fabulous.
Oh,
now, what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome in order to lose the weight?
Well, I would say like anything else, and people may think this sounds a little cheesy, but if you have an addiction to a drug or alcohol, people would really clearly not want to put it in your face. They wouldn't be like, here, do you want to drink? Here, why don't you smoke weed? Whatever your vice is, they wouldn't say that to you. You would try to keep it away from your friend and not cause them to stumble. It's not the same when you're losing weight. It's more like, well, why can't you just have a piece of cake? Well, I can. I choose not to. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me perform at my best. So I choose not to. And I say that all the time. We can eat whatever we want to. You have to choose intentionally what is going to fuel your body the best. That would be a stumbling block. Or you get to the point where, at one point you were too big and all of a sudden you're too thin. You need to stop. And just knowing that if you're working towards a goal, for me, it was just healthy BMI so that my risk of disease was lowered. That was my goal, and that's where I got to. So just remember that you're going to always have naysayers and that you have to block them. And just remember that's about their issues, not yours.
That's true. That's true. And I think one of the things too that is very valuable is that we have to understand that, whenever we are going through these unhealthy eating habits and things of that nature, it's not that we really don't want to do well. It is almost as much emotional and mindset as it is anything. In understanding, because I remember when I was younger, I used to say I'm living to eat. Now I eat to live. It's completely changed the dynamic on how I do things. And so, like yesterday, my husband went and he got a ribeye steak. And let me tell you something, I would be probably completely vegan if it was not for a ribeye. I love one, right? But I knew that it just didn't make me feel good, right? And so understanding your body, understanding how you feel, and being very, very intuitive to that is very important. So if you're out in the audience, just drop some links about how, not links, but drop some gems about how, some things that you have done in order to lose weight and overcome those challenges. Now, who is someone that you look up to and that you have found to be influential?
Gosh. Okay. Well, I will say famous people I have always really related to. This sounds silly. Mother Teresa and Princess Diana. Both of them, totally opposite in so many ways, but so similar in others. They both wanted to serve others. They wanted to do the best they could. Mother Teresa, lived among the poor and tried to see the face of Jesus in everyone she met and tried to show that to them as well. Where Princess Diana had plenty of money and she wanted to use her resources to help others. There's this one quote from Mother Teresa that I loved, and it says, "It's not about how much you do, but how much love you put into what you do that counts." Mm-hmm. And then Princess Diana, I knew what my job was. It was to go out and meet people and love them. So, both of them had this underlying theme of love. And if we can all just show love and grace to everyone we encounter, everything will be a lot better.
Sure would. I mean, I don't, and honestly, I don't, and I guess I can get it at some point, but I just, at instances, I'm just like, just love them through it all, right? And Keisha Battle Spivey, her 100-year-old grandmother, she was talking the other day, and that's one of the things that she said. She said, "You're not always going to like them, but you just got to love them because they're going to be who they're going to be regardless, right?" And that's so, right. And that's what God was about. He was about love. And TD Jakes talked about the questions. So he said, if you had to think about a test, right? And if you could get 91 points on this one question, and then you had these 10 questions, and all the other questions were worth 1 point. He said the question would be whether you love the next person, right? If you could get, that's all you got to do. Love people and love God, then you're in the business. Okay.
Yes.
So who is someone local that you look up to?
Gosh, that's so hard because it's like there's so many people that have inspired me, but and some of the people that truly inspire me would not want a mention by name because they don't do things for the recognition. But I will say there's a lady in my church, Susan Laney, who has always stood out to me for that very reason. She is a prayer warrior, and she does not go around broadcasting it, and she serves people locally. It's one of those people that if you have asked her to pray, it's not a one and done. She's praying. If I've asked her to pray for my daughter or my sons or a situation, I know deep down in my heart that it has been an ongoing. She has got it somewhere written down to keep them. She's just an awesome woman of God. And I just hope that I can be as awesome as she is in that area.
Yeah, I know that's right. So someone commented, I have pelvic floor pain. So for the past 2 years, I've been struggling working out at the gym because of my pain. I get so depressed because I enjoy working out at Planet Fitness. So do you have any advice for that person?
So, here's the thing. 80% of our results weight-wise come in the kitchen, not in the gym. And that was hard for me because I used to play sports. I've always been very active. I love to work out. It makes me feel good. But I had to tell myself, and I remember a personal trainer telling me that through the years, you've got to get your kitchen in order. That's where you're going to see the results. And so I truly had to, when I started this program in February, I had to stop exercise for a while and just focus on nutrition. And, if you get that in check, the other is just icing on the cake. So most of my results came just from changing my eating habits without exercise. Once I had really mastered that, then I moved on to incorporating exercise. But that's not what got me the weight loss. The
Gotcha.
nutrition is what got me the weight loss.
You know, one of the things that I do know is that, you know, food, you know, healing is on the end of your fork, right? And so I've struggled, you know, with inflammation in the past, and the inflammation that I've struggled with, like I've literally had to completely, like I hadn't completely got rid of dairy, but I do not do a whole lot of dairy at all, right? Because for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, dairy is an inflammatory thing for me, right? So I try my best to stay as far away from it as I can. Like where I would eat a bowl of ice cream and it would be amazing. Okay. I just don't do it anymore, right? And a bowl of cereal, girl, high fat, all of it. Okay. I was there for all of it, right? And so it's those things that I found, and I just started listening to my body. And every time I would feel bad or I would feel like I couldn't go on, I would tweak my diet and say, well, maybe this is causing it, and just did a lot of research and kind of figured it out. So I hope that helps. Now, where can someone find you and your products?
So I would say a good place to start would be find me on Facebook, Julie Pledger Carter. You can follow me, you can friend me. I do some videos with healthy recipes. I always have some tips and tidbits, and then you can message me on Facebook and we can get a conversation going about what would help you to get to your goals.
Sweet, sweet. So tell us how your baby is doing now that
Oh my
he
God.
is.
Oh, he's awesome. I mean, he's a sixth grader. He's struggling like everyone else with having to do school from home. He was supposed to start back in person today, but numbers kept rising and everyone is home until March. So he's struggling with that. You know, he appears confident on the outside. He acts like there's nothing different. Even when he had a surgery a year ago, he wanted to go back to school before 6 weeks is up. So he was on crutches. He would do PE on crutches. He would do everything everyone else did. Does he still struggle? Yes. A week ago during homework, he told me he wanted a prosthetic hand and a prosthetic foot because he really has problems still with his foot and he doesn't have full reach of his hand. I just always try to encourage him, you know, everything happens for a purpose. You know, you've got a story. You will be able to do anything you want to do. Will it be harder? Absolutely. But with hard things come the greatest success and the greatest feelings of accomplishment. So when you go through those valleys, just know that the mountaintops are going to be that much higher.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that he got you as a mama, because let me tell you something. That little boy touched my heart that day. I'm telling you, I was like, oh my God, I just love him. And then that day, it came full circle because I remember we were at one of those walks, Relay for Life. I remember it so specifically, just like it was yesterday. And you came up to me and you were like, hey, and I was like, hey. And you were like, I'm Julie. And I was like,
okay.
And then you said, I'm your baby. I'm not going to say his name, his mama. And I was like, oh my, where's he at? And then you showed him to me, and like literally he was like all over the place, and it brought my heart so much joy to see him, just to see him be as amazing as he is. So I'm super excited that you are his mama, and I'm super excited that we are friends, and I love it. So thank you for showing up.
And let me just say that our family is so thankful for you because anybody watching, Viola happened to be one of the nurses that was there from the moment we got to the ER, and she prayed with me. She reached out to us when we were in Chapel Hill. And then it's just funny how, you know, God weaves together different threads to make this beautiful tapestry. And Viola has been a part of ours. And so we will always be thankful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But we're not going to talk about that no more, because then we'll both be emotional again. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce, owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, and the facilitators of Secret Supplements Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know, working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders others, such as Julie, that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment if you were ever told that you would never lose weight. And remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. You guys have a phenomenal day. And somebody said that we were awesome. And we think that you are awesome too. Okay, just to know. All right, y'all have a great day.